I was just talking about alternatives to incarceration. If we're going to end mass incarceration, we have to give people a clear understanding of what concrete alternatives look like. And in Brooklyn, where I live, Common Justice is doing a phenomenal job of taking young people who have been accused of a crime and are in Rikers, and they go in there and they talk to them about an alternative where they might be able to be part of a restorative justice process. And then they contact the person who's been harmed and they talk to them, and 85% of them choose to be part of a restorative justice program instead of pursuing prosecution against the person who's harmed them. And they do it for a number of reasons, some because they feel like second chance is really critical, and some because they're really practical and they understand that when this young person gets sent away to prison, they're going to be exposed to more people who know more about how to harm folks. They're going to be denied an education when they return. They're going to be probably angrier, and they're going to be less likely to be able to start an alternative life when they return. So they think that it makes more sense to provide this young person with what they need to understand why they did it and what they did. So the program requires that people, both the person who's harmed and the person who has done the harming, to go through a program where they put that incident that occurred in a larger context of this criminal justice system, and then the person who's been harmed identifies what it is that they need to feel whole, and the person who did the harm has to then make it their work over the next 18 months to make that happen. And it could look like anything from providing support, restitution, like repaying the money that was stolen, to finding a baseball cap that was vintage and was given to somebody that they'd had for 30 years, and then this person having to go to like flea markets in 30 miles zone trying to find that hat to return it. Or it could be giving them self-defense classes so that they don't feel intimidated and threatened every time they see a large person come in their periphery. That is the work of restorative justice, and the reason that it's more effective is because it gives the person who did harm a way to atone and be held accountable without throwing them in a cage. And it gives the person who's been harmed an opportunity to feel like the person who did this to them is sorry that they did it and they're trying to make it better. And that makes people feel a lot better. And then the most important thing is that the recidivism rate is 5% or less, and that is compared to a recidivism rate in most of the country that starts in the 20s and goes up to the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So this is why I think it's really important for us to look at models of restorative justice programs, most of which are working and are much more effective and cost much less money than sending folks to jail and to be in cages for years and to have all their rights stripped. Also, at the end of this program, the person who's done harm has the charges dropped against them. So there's no record of this. They have worked to remove that. And we're doing that in conjunction with the Attorney General and our district attorney in Brooklyn. And it's really successful. It's expanding into the Bronx. And there are other programs like that all over the country.